My name's Geoff Eckert. I've been riding, actually I started BMX racing when I was probably like second grade. So we're talking, I don't know, 30, 40 years now? Between 30 and 40 years. What I like about mountain biking is, connecting with nature, getting out, clear your mind. It's something you kind of forget about the world, your troubles, for a few hours, and just have fun. And the adrenaline, the challenge that, it gives you, and it's just a great outlet, to stress reliever, get away from everyday life. So I found out about my blood clot. Actually, I was going to do a race in Ashland, Oregon in October 2019 with my buddies, and I actually was in the back of the car for a 6-hour drive. Didn't know anything about blood clots, never had any blood clots. I woke up that night before we even raced, and my leg was just like hurting. It was cramp feeling. I put it on pillows. I kind of crashed earlier in the week training a little bit. It was real light. Woke up the next day and I rode I think we rode like 50 miles the day before the race. I raced. I kind of fell over in the race too, the same way. I thought maybe my crank or pedal hit my leg or something. Told my wife, she goes, oh yeah, it looks a little swollen. We kind of watched it for a while and then it kind of went away. I didn't notice it as much. And then it kind of started bothering me a little bit more, maybe like a few weeks later. It still was swollen. She's like, maybe you have a DVT. I'm like, what is that? Because she actually sold medical devices as well and knew of the symptoms. And then I said, yeah, it actually sounds like that. I mean, that's what it felt like. That's, it's swollen. I almost was gonna go to the ER, but then we talked to some of her friends that were nurses and I wasn't really a candidate for it, So I was like, no, I don't wanna go to the ER on a Sunday. Forgot about it, and then several months later, I was mountain biking with my crew, and I just noticed my breathing kept getting worse, and I thought it was asthma, like exercise-induced asthma. Actually, I was riding out here, and I had to tap out like early on the ride, which is not normal because I just wasn't feeling good. I couldn't breathe, couldn't keep up. So I came out the next day. I said, look, I think it's asthma. I want to go slow, just see how I feel. And I did a downhill, and I was actually tired on the downhill, like out of breath. I'm like, this is not normal. I kind of looked at the fire station as I was like, man, am I gonna like pass out right now? I was like, can I get to the fire station? So I got back to my car and I told my wife, look, I need to go get checked out. Something's going on. Told him, hey, I think it's asthma. I'm having a hard time breathing. So the doctor said, have you ever had a blood clot? I said, no. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh, I had this story. And he goes, well, maybe we should test you. You want to get tested for? I said, yeah, I want to get tested for everything. We did the blood test. It was like late on a Friday night when I went to the clinic. So then the next morning, I'm watching my son, who was 2 at the time, and I get a call from the vice nurse saying, hey, you need to go to the ER. We think you have blood clots. Your test came back high. The doctor actually called me on the way to the ER, and I was freaking out just thinking of my son. I have a 2-year-old, like I can't die. And I asked him, I said, hey, what's the worst case scenario? And he actually said, you could drop dead right now. It was easy as going to get an ultrasound earlier on. If I would have went to the ER, we could have caught it. Obviously, being young and not really wanting to go to the ER, I didn't do it. But I didn't know anything about it until I had blood clots in both my lungs, and then it was in my leg, and then it broke off and it went to both my lungs on New Year's Eve, 2019. But what I found out is I posted online what was going on, a picture, hey, I'm in there in the hospital with blood clots in my lungs, and my mom's sister said, hey, chimed in and said, you might have what I have, it's this factor V Leiden. I was like, factor V Leiden, it's a blood disorder, genetic blood disorder that you might want to get checked for. So yeah, so I got checked through this whole process, and I've actually had it my whole life. Nothing's ever happened, and somehow out of nowhere, it developed a blood clot in my leg. Maybe on that long road trip, something triggered it. So it is a very serious thing that you have to be aware of, and I have a doctor's appointment actually next week, so I'm constantly following up with the doctor, getting it rescanned, my leg rescanned, and I do take blood thinners now. And if I'm riding, like today, I didn't take any for, I think it's been like 18 hours, so and I'll take one right after I'm done riding. So I have to kind of be aware with my medicine too. I mean, being an athlete, constantly crashing, I broke my back 2017, ribs, I broke my clavicle, I got a plate in 2018, broke my finger last year. I've had 2 surgeries. We get back up and do it, and you know, I didn't listen to my body originally when my wife even said it could be this DVT, because you're like, what, a DVT? Why would I, you know, I read about it, I was like, what? There's probably, what's the chance of me having a DVT, right? I think being an athlete, you just gotta, you know, sometimes if you are, you're gonna make things worse if you're just like, hey, I'm gonna toughen it out. I got friends still all the time, like, oh, I'm just gonna keep riding, and the next thing you know, they got a full-blown surgery because they're just kept tearing something, you know. So, you know, I think that's kind of the issue with DVTs, is that you would probably just shrug it off as, I got a cramp in my leg, or, you know, it's probably just from a hard workout. So I get people ask me all the time, hey, what was it like? I actually had a friend, I think I might have one, you know. So I just tell them the symptoms and tell them, yeah, you might just want to get checked out. If you feel like a cramping in your leg, or it's tight, or it's just out of nowhere, it's worth getting checked out. Obviously, if you've noticed something in your leg and now you can't breathe that well, get to the ER or, you know, urgent care as soon as possible. The most scary moment was, you know, I'm having a hard time breathing. I just got the call from the nurse, you need to go to the ER. I'm driving there, and I'm just thinking, look, I got a 2-year-old I need to be around for. But yeah, it always just brings you back to, you know, I'm grateful I wake up every day. You know, just be grateful, no matter how bad things are. I'm always thankful to wake up and be on the earth. You know, I love it here. It also makes you realize how quickly, out of nowhere, something can happen to all of us. Just be aware that things can happen really fast and change very quickly.